Hey, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Kolpack and Izzo podcast, brought to you by Gate City Bank, along with Jeff Kolpack, Dom Izzo with you. First week of March means it's Summit League tournament time as the annual basketball championship about to tip off on Saturday in Sioux Falls, which means a trip through Summit, South Dakota for my colleague. I've been banned. Every time I went down, the Bison lost. The old Izzo jinx. So
high of 68 in Sioux Falls on Saturday.
You got the clubs with you?
No.
You better.
Great chips or great shots.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's right. They got that open down there.
Shirt sleeve weather.
In Sioux Falls as it goes back to the Premier Center for, I believe, now the 5th year. I missed the old arena after
the iconic Sioux Falls arena.
Iconic Sioux Falls arena, but the Denny Sanford Premier Center is a pretty good spot.
It really is one of the most beautiful settings, I think,
really
for an arena, and especially mid-major basketball. You see a lot of these regionals, a lot of these conference tournaments, and as we all do this time of year, and most of them are in these like cracker box areas, or some are home court, and it just
some are on home floors,
and it just doesn't have the big time atmosphere. It feels like a Power 5 setting.
Absolutely right, and attendance wise, it can back that up as well, depending on certain teams that make it into the championship round. We're going to preview each side. Let's start on the women's side. The North Dakota State women come in as the 6th seed. They'll face off with Denver coming up. That game's on Sunday at 2:30. That's the last of the women's quarterfinals. Jory Collins' team won 7 league games, highest finish for the Bison women in the last handful of years, and now a matchup with a team that they split with during the regular season. This is the prime spot to be in, Kolpack. You're not the 7 or the 8.
For the first time since you were a single man that they have a chance to win a first-round game.
Yes, I completely agree with you. And this is the prime spot. You're not the 7 and you're not the 8. You're not playing SDSU and you're not playing South Dakota. How many times, you talked about it on my show earlier this week, that we could pretty much write it off of when the Bison women's season will be done. This is an opportunity, and this is the next step that Jory Collins wants to take, is to win a postseason game.
At least give it a shot here and not just get totally just just gutted out in the first game. It's been a year that we've seen a lot of growth, I think, mentally more than anything with this program, that they've been able to put aside the past mediocrity. And it's not even mediocrity. That would be
it's bad. It's just been bad basketball.
That would be an exaggeration, actually. That they've been able to put aside the recent 10-year, 11-year history of this team in January and February getting worse, not better.
Yep.
It has never gotten better.
Until this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think the fans have recognized that. Granted, there was a couple games pretty good. One game, I think, toward the end wasn't so well attended. That maybe will change in the future. At one time, as we all know, this community really loved to go to women's basketball games, and you just got to win, baby.
Yeah.
And when you lose for so many years in a row, they're going to disappear, and it's not going to come back overnight.
Nope.
He knows that, Jory Collins. The administration knows that. You don't bring fans back overnight just because you start winning a couple games. But at least it's hope. At least it's trending in the right direction. He needs to get some recruits. But by and large, I think the season's already been a total success. Even if they lose to Denver, an absolute smashing success. You beat your in-state rival twice. And you've gotten better as years gone on.
Yep, I think that's a good point.
Two things we haven't seen in a decade.
Now, they only lose one senior in Riley Nudell, and the 2 additions that they have coming that are sitting out in the transfer right now, and Heaven Hamling and Marie Olson, those, I think, from what Jory has told me, can help this team.
Two players, actually, with Zavalovic.
Oh, that's right. Sofia Zavalovic is not coming back.
That being said, you could have 5 players that started this last game. None of them would start next year. It's possible.
Wow. Think about that.
Well, if he wants to contend, he's better find 5 players that are better than these 5 players.
You think Dietz would start,
I think Cobbins has a chance.
I think Cobbins will.
Dietz has a chance, but they're going to need
You're right, though.
some more.
Yep.
Certainly somebody to go with Dietz and probably somebody a little quicker when you go against quicker posts.
Yep, I agree. Now, is this – I know it's a is it a 2-team race on the women's side, or is it a 1-team race? And if someone beats South Dakota, that's the stunner of stunners in this tournament on the women's side.
It'll be the stunner of stunners.
Yeah.
They're number 12, Dom, in the national poll. I can't imagine a Summit team ever getting higher than number 12 in the division. This is not the mid-major poll, folks.
Right.
This is
AP one.
AP Top 25 USA Today coaches poll. There's 2 polls that they are 12, 13. They've been around that area for most
of the season.
Certainly most of the winter.
Yeah. Now this is the tournament though where they have owned South Dakota State during the season, but have not been able to beat them in the Summit League Championship game. And I know for Don Plitzowite, that's got to be the bugaboo, Kolpack. They've beaten the Jacks, but haven't beaten them in Sioux Falls. And now that's the big challenge because you know how much of a home game that's going to be. There will be plenty of red there, but that's a big challenge for the Coyote women in that game, if it comes to pass.
Yeah, they got the best player in the conference in Sierra Duffy.
Oh, she's so good.
Who is
really
just so head and shoulders above everybody else.
Yep.
And she was like the Macy Miller of South Dakota State last year. Those two, I think, were matched up against each other, and a good matchup at that.
Oh, man.
Now you take Miller out of the equation, there is nobody even close to Duffy's talent. She's 6 foot. She's fast. She's a good shooter.
Yep.
She's quick off her feet. She can rise up and score over people.
Now, for people that have not gone or even seen it on TV, and you've been down there the last few years to cover it, that championship game on the middle of the afternoon on a Tuesday, it's filled there. There's 10,000 people in the building for a women's basketball. That doesn't happen anywhere. Not on a Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
Anywhere in the country.
No way. And that's what we're probably anticipating on the women's side.
And you wonder why Tom Duple packed up shop in Chicago for the league office and moved to Sioux Falls. That right there is reason number one. Because that is the center of the Summit universe.
So the Bison women play at 2:30 on Sunday. The UND women play at 2:30 on Saturday. They have South Dakota State for Travis Brewster's squad. That will be a tough matchup for the Fighting Hawks, who got swept by the Jackrabbits during the regular season.
You know, they're young. The Fighting Hawks are young, but nobody saw them falling behind NDSU.
Nope. No. I think if you would have asked anyone that follows basketball,
you thought there's no way.
No, the UND would have finished ahead of NDSU in women's basketball. No doubt on that. All right, on the men's side, the Bison men clinched the #1 seed after a thrilling weekend at the Shack where they beat South Dakota State for the first time in 7 tries. Then they can't miss. They shoot lights out against Omaha to get them the #1 seed. They get the automatic bid to the NIT. First time that's ever happened, as they'll square off with Denver, the 8 seed. Oral Roberts is the 4. Omaha is the 5. South Dakota State is the 2. They'll get Fort Wayne, who's the 7, as the Mastodons make their final appearance at the Summit League tournament. And then it's USD as the 3 and UND as the 6.
I see the question. Who can win it?
All right, go for it. You've told me all year you think 5 or 6 can do it.
Boy, after watching Omaha in the last regular season game
You're
at the
crossing them
Shack,
off?
oh, God, they were just awful.
Defensively, they were terrible, yes.
I don't see them winning. I don't see them going 3 games. It's just not enough there because I hadn't seen them, obviously, in a whole regular season game. I thought I expected more from the Mavs. I'm crossing them off.
Okay.
I can't go 3 games.
So now you have 4. I'm assuming it's Oral Roberts, USD, SDSU, and NDSU.
Oral Roberts is a little too funky for my tastes. They're up, they're down, they're up, they're down. Their last 10, they went 5-5. It's kind of the way the season's gone.
That's true.
How can you expect them to win 3 in a row?
You can't. The recent track record says they can't. They're out too.
Out.
Okay. So now we're down to 3?
3.
USD, SDSU, and NDSU.
Correct.
Tell me about USD.
I'm still waiting for USD to really throw 3 in a row at us this year.
Yeah. They've had a couple games in a row.
They got some players, man.
Oh, man. Hagedorn's, I think it's either he or Wilson
Simpson?
for player of the year, right? Simpson's a really good player.
Moody was going to go FBA. He was going to transfer to Power 5 and took his name out of the transfer portal. Maybe Jabril Cox will. Moody did.
Give Bison fans hope on that front.
I've heard that. I'm sorry, people, but Moody and Jabril Cox are two different
players.
Different players.
Yep, no doubt on that. So so you mentioned South Dakota. They've got UND, and that was a tough game. They just played to end the regular season.
Yeah, UND's got 1 game in them. I think Marlon Stewart is. Man. If he can carry him, they have a chance at that game.
I like the Rabracha kid. He's good too.
Those two have to carry him. But those 2 players aren't enough to get you through 3 games. The other cast from UND is mediocre.
Right. Yep. Paul Sather, I think, will do a good job there. I think things will work out.
South Dakota has potential, has the ability to win 3 straight. Now that brings us to South Dakota State.
Go ahead.
Without Mike Dom, without Jenkins, without 2 or 3 other Teffin,
really good players.
Tellenhuisen,
Yep.
right? And a couple other players.
Yep.
They're better. You know why they're better? They play better defense. Mike Dom didn't play defense. He was just a statue in there. His job on defense was not to fall so he could score on offense. And that was generally known that he was just a terrible defensive player. And so you're playing 4-on-5 defensively, essentially. And that's pretty tough to do when it comes to 3 in a row. South Dakota State is a better team this year to go 3-0.
Yeah.
Because they play better defense than they did last year.
I love the Friedel kid, the freshman. He's really
talented.
good.
He's talented.
I
he was
mean,
going to go to Wright State.
Yep.
And
With
whatever.
Scott Nagy. That's where Scott
Nagy.
Nagy's at, former SDSU coach.
Something happened there. He was going to go to USD. They didn't have a scholarship, which I think is going to be
that's
going
to haunt Todd Lee forever. No doubt on that.
And it ends up at South Dakota State. I'm going, wow, you look at this kid, and he is a dude.
Who does he remind you of?
You think
used to play-
Walters?
Exactly.
He's bigger than Walters.
He reminds me a lot of him.
He's stronger than Walters already.
But
but he's not as nifty as Walters.
I like Nate Walters a lot as a player. I think everybody knows who listens knew how much I had a man crush on
Walters
him,
was
so.
niftier, certainly.
Yeah.
He could get to the hoop at will. He had a quicker first
Granted,
step.
this is just a freshman year, so we'll see on that. But I'm with you. And now here's the thing. What's up with Douglas Wilson's status? And
he doesn't
can
look like
he
he's
play?
going to play.
And if he can't play, how much does that affect the Jacks' chances to
Boy,
win this thing?
but they were pretty good in Fargo without him.
That's true.
They were really
They
good.
forced overtime with him.
Yeah, and that was in Fargo, and I thought they played. NDSU had a hard time cracking their defense. It wasn't like they could go around. It wasn't like Mike Dom was out front and somebody just go right around him.
Yeah.
You didn't see hardly any of that.
Jacks are loaded. They got a really, really good team.
What a surprise, too, after
Yeah,
losing
absolutely.
everybody in their
Pendo's
head coach.
He should be the coach of the year, right?
That's a slam dunk.
That's a slam dunk that he's going to be the coach of the year. Those awards come out tomorrow as we record this.
Okay, so South Dakota State, yes, they could go 3-0.
Okay.
And that brings us to
the Bison.
local team.
Yep.
Have probably one of the most veteran teams in it. They have the best point guard in the league. They have one of the best versatile inside-outside guys in Tyson Ward. Rocky Cruiser's
pretty good down
been
low.
steady.
Yep. Presence there.
Tyree Edie's strong kid, plays a nice complementary role to this team. Now, how deep are they?
Well, let's see. They bring Hunter would play. Cam Hunter they go that deep.
He's struggled on the field.
Yeah. Middle part of the year is pretty good.
Quayle's okay.
Quayle give you some solid minutes.
He's all right.
Not a ton, but he can give you some. Goodness. Witz, I don't know. How much can he
Witz
play?
Is not a very skilled offensive player at all, and he's having trouble. He's not exactly a stopper inside on defense. I question the depth.
Okay, so you're saying right now about 7 deep on the Bison roster. Am I forgetting somebody here?
Nodek hasn't been seen. Harden Hayes hasn't been seen.
Not for a while. Nope. After that, yeah, you're probably it. We're counting their starting 5. I think it's going to have to. Sam Griesel became a man in this tournament last year. He's going to have to do the same thing. I think.
I forgot about Griesel, but he's been ineffective offensively. He's been ineffective.
He was, against South Dakota State, he was not.
He's good. He's a great rebounder. Yep. He's great at keeping balls alive, and he's a great offensive rebounder. But they're going to need him to score.
Absolutely, and that's what he did.
But I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it this year.
It has not. I mean, obviously, you've got Shaheed, and you've got Ward, and you've got Cruiser. Those 3 guys that have been dynamite, I think, all season long, and they're going to have to carry the mail again for 3 straight games. Here's the thing, though. Now, being the one
and the
on
pressure
this,
and
right,
being the defending champions.
That's what I was going to get to now. Being the defending champs of this event and now the 1 seed, and you've been down there before when they've been the 1 and playing that first game, whether it was the first tournament
the Woodside,
they were at, right, the 2009 was Centenary.
Had to come from behind.
They almost lost that game to. I want to say it was 2014 when they played their first game, and that struggled there. There's something about that first game that they're going to have to, I think, get through with Denver. I know Denver's bad, but there will be some sort of hiccup, I imagine, come Saturday night with this game.
I feel like when Dave, after the game on Omaha game in his post game, I think he said, "Let's be clear about this. On Monday we go back to work," and I think he was hinting at, and he might have even said it, that I'm going to be hard on these guys.
Yeah. Yep. This is
what
what they know.
I think that was a sign of, okay, regular season's over. Now it's back to business.
This is it, though, Kolpack.
Can't go into this hey, we won.
Right.
Everything's great this week.
This is the season. 3 games it boils down to, which may be unfair. And I'll say this. If they lose, somewhere along the way, they are guaranteed a spot in the NIT, which they've never been in before. And I know no basketball fan wants to talk about, but that's a big deal, Kolpack. That's the second biggest. They've done the CBI. I don't think they've ever done the CIT, the fourth ring tournament. But that the NIT would be.
That's a nice consolation.
It would not be something they want. They don't want anything to do about that. Now, before we wrap up on this, and I asked you this on Monday, and you skirted me, so I'm going to ask you again. How much, in your mind, playing in that building is worth to the Jackrabbits? How many points, just off the top of your head?
5.
That's what I thought, too. That's what I thought. That if it comes down to them and the Jackrabbits, that I think that's at least that much of an advantage for SDSU. Now, they've beaten them in that championship game in 2015 when SDSU was expected to win, and you'd have to think, I would put the Jacks as a favorite if they were to play in the title game.
You would.
I would.
I would, too.
They're not the number one seed.
Because, I think they play better defense than they did last year. I think in NDSU's depth, I question. Those are two factors.
That's two big factors there. Who would have thought, what is this, 11, 12 years into this, that this would become this big a deal in Sioux Falls? From the first time that you went down in 2009.
Who would have thought the Bison would have won 8 titles in 9 years?
I'm saying, like,
football.
For this event, which had been in Tulsa forever, and then that first year in Sioux Falls where they shattered attendance records, that now here they are, 11, 12 years?
Give it up to the commissioner.
Absolutely.
The guy had a vision of shrinking the footprint. Now, I don't think he would have foreseen this at all either, but he had a vision of shrinking the mid-con footprint to the summit what it is now, take advantage of the I-29 corridor, and he's put together a nice, pretty good mid-major league.
And it's a high-energy tournament. It's terrific to follow, terrific to cover. And Kolpack will be down there starting Saturday night, correct?
Saturday night. We'll be there Saturday. And he can also thank Sanford for coming along for the ride.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Arena.
Yeah, the arena's been nice on that
And just
front.
the investment Sanford's put in athletics just up and down with all these schools.
Great stuff as always. You can catch Jeff down in Sioux Falls.
And don't worry, the Izzo Jinx will not be present in Sioux Falls. You'll be knee-deep in high school.
I will be, and I'll be back here bucking you, so you can expect Kolpack will have full coverage down from Sioux Falls starting on Saturday.
And Monday, if either the men or women are live on Monday, will I be on your show live?
We'll make it happen. Absolutely. We're going to make it happen.
I'll bring my suit, coat, and tie. Just for that 10 minutes.
You got a camera on that phone. We can
10 minutes.
We can finagle some live
took
stuff
over
there.
the studio, so
it looks pretty good, doesn't it? That's the latest edition of the Kolpack and Izzo podcast, brought to you by Gate City Bank. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you next time.